My mother said it's like yesterday that you bought that house.
I know, right?
Time flies when you're having fun, Rebbitzin.
Wow, yes. I do have a lot of fun, so it's okay.
There you go.
I don't know, and this house seems to have turned into a bed and breakfast. There's a lot of bed and there's a lot of breakfast.
There you
The
go.
only problem is you're not making money off them, to be honest.
Correct, I am not. I'm losing on the breakfast part, the bed part.
It's the eating.
How a better breakfast does.
Every single day.
It's the eating part of the bed and breakfast. That's why.
Royal, which bed and
Yeah.
breakfast serves cholent? A good one. I was thinking, Royal, how's Palm Beach?
It's Hawaii.
Hawaii.
I had enough of the house.
Can't you tell? That's for sure Palm Beach, a Hawaii palm tree.
Yasso, what are we munching on over there, Yasso, a little bit?
All right, we ready to roll?
First, I want to see what Yossi's eating. Looks like very good munches.
He's usually eating pizza from Seasoned Express. Usually.
Is that him on the top and middle?
He's
He's
on
eating
mute.
something.
Of course, he doesn't want to talk to me now.
No, he's-
Russell, now you're unmuted. Go ahead. What are you eating?
No, it's homemade pizza today. I'll send you some pictures.
Ooh, it's homemade pizza.
Yeah. Deep dish, homemade.
Oh, stuffed crust?
Jacob, the other was not so excited about Fialkov's pizza.
I know. I had a piece. All right, it was all right. You know what I mean?
They opened?
They opened in Seasons Express, yeah.
I know it's better when it's upstate. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
I'm happy
it's not so good, or else I'll eat it all.
Yeah. Okay, ready to roll?
Is it the same people?
They're using the same
I
name,
don't know.
Fialkov's.
Or did they franchise it out?
No, they
I don't know. I
franchised
think
it
it's just
out.
the recipe.
They claim it's the same sauce. That's what they claim.
If we could have in mind Rachel Bas Chaya,
Jesse's here.
I'm afraid to know Jesse.
Julie's great aunt.
The only good thing with Jesse's names is there's less and less every day, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
I hope that they're all coming
Chaya.
push for it.
That's why.
What's the story with her, Jesse?
She's in a nursing home and she's declining
Oh,
from
forget
COVID.
it.
All right.
Stop laughing.
She should have a refuah shalema amongst the
Amen.
Shachar Yisrael.
Man.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so let's just the chazak from yesterday, Daf Nun. Does using something with insulation make it automatically not muktza? And then commercial things need to be specified that they're not muktza. Meaning if you plan on using it for selling, and you decide to use it for hatmana, that's and then a machlokes of making something not muktza requires you to actually do a mice in it or not, like wrapping up the what do you call it? The wood, right? So you have to tie it up in order to make it not muktza. And then we said using soats on Shabbos that may cause your hair to fall out, which we said is machlokes of Shimon and Rebbi Yehuda. And then men not cleaning the body because that's what women do, right? That's basically where we left off. Yes, so Zok the Gemara. I think I'm going to do a little less because tonight is the end of the hatmana, which is insulating your food on Shabbos, and it's very worthwhile to spend a little time just to get a little bit halacha l'maisa on the halachas of hatmana. Okay, so maybe we're finishing the Perek tonight, Be'ezus Hashem. So I don't know if we'll start. We'll see how much time it takes. Okay, so
Moshe Dove said we should really do more. Just saying.
do more what?
More Gemara. He doesn't want you to do less. Just saying. He'll never complain when you do less.
Okay. So Rebbe Loza, right? So we're on Nunam Abayz by Rebbe Loza ben Azariah. Kupa Mata Al Tzida v'Naitel Shemayito. Right. So in the Mishna we're discussing that if you take insulation and it makes, let's say you take a box and you put your cholent in the box and you cover it with all sorts of insulation that might potentially be muktza. So how do you take it out? How do you take the box? How do you take it out without moving the muktza? Or even if you do get it out, but maybe the muktza is going to collapse back into the box. And then when you want to put your cholent back into the box, so now you're going to end up pushing away muktza. Right?
I have a few ideas.
Okay.
How to move the muktzah?
Yeah. Okay. I wonder how you're going to do that. But you need the dead person there too first, though. Okay. I hope you're not using the dead person for hatmana. But
don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I thought you were going to say you have an eitzah is not to have any leftovers, so you don't got to put the cholent back. That's really what I thought your first eitzah would be.
I can't eat. I don't eat like I used to. I've tried.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's see the Gemara. So Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Chia Barashi, Amar Rav, Hakol Moedim, Sheim Niskalkal Haguma, She'asa Lahachser. Right? Everybody agrees that if the opening, meaning again, you had a box, you put your cholent in there, and then you surrounded it with wool, let's say, which we said yesterday, wool is muktza. So you surrounded your cholent with the wool, right? Now you took out your cholent, and then all that wool that you hoped would stay along the wall of the box collapsed into the box. So now the Gemara is saying everybody agrees that if it did collapse, then you're not allowed to put your cholent back in there because it's going to end up moving the muktza, and then you're moving muktza on Shabbos, right? So then the Gemara says, Tanan, the Chachamim say you're allowed to take it out and put it back. So, hey, Chidami, what's the case of the Chachamim then? If the literal translation of Niskalkal Aguma is that if the opening got destroyed, right? But so if it didn't collapse, so then Shaper Kamri Rabban, the Rabbanos are right, of course. Why not put your cholent pot back in there? There's nothing, you're not moving any sort of muktza. Elalav, Avabida Niskalkal Aguma. Must be the Rabbanos saying you're allowed to put your cholent pot back in there even if the hole collapsed. So my answer is really, it didn't collapse. But now then we have to figure out why can't you put the cholent back then? The whole concern is whether we have to be concerned that maybe it will collapse. Right? So the Rebbe Loza ben Azariah is worried that maybe the opening is going to collapse and you're going to end up moving muktza. There's no chashash. You don't have to be concerned for that. If it does collapse, though, we're coming out that you are not allowed to put your cholent back.
What's today's equivalent of this?
I don't know. I was just actually, as I was reading it, I was thinking, what would be a today's equivalent of this? I don't know because we don't do hatmana.
Would it be like what do you call it? Like a cholent pot? A regular crock pot where it's got the things
because the muktza is not moving. Yeah, you're right. The crock pot itself, the base, the heating element is probably muktza, but you don't have to move that in order to nothing collapsed into the opening. There's no chashash of anything collapsing into the opening, right?
But what if they lined it with tinfoil or something like that to make the break or whatever as they do?
Right, but tinfoil wouldn't be muktza l'chayru. I don't know. I don't know if they're practical.
I'm just trying to figure out what this is.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I really don't think there is a practical, as far as I know. I don't know. Maybe as we go along, we'll try and figure that out. But I don't think so. Okay, so then Amar Rav Huna. Then the Gemara goes off on a tangent a little bit here. Amar Rav Huna. Hi slikusasa. This slikusasa, which is some sort of grass that it was like a nice looking plant or grass or whatever it is, and it smelled good, so they would stick it into like a flower pot, right? And then fancy people would have this in their house. So can you take the plant out on Shabbos and then put it back because you're pushing dirt, right? Sort of the same thing as taking the crock pot out, and let's say you have wool. Again, I don't think crock pot's not the right example. Let's say you have a pot in a box and you surrounded it with wool. Right, so then the wool might collapse. It is the same thing. You take out this plant, and you have a plant stuck in dirt. Now you want to pull out the plant for whatever reason on Shabbos. Now the dirt is going to collapse, and then or you want to put either A, can you pull it out because the dirt will collapse, which means you're indirectly moving dirt, and then B, can you put it back in? Right, so that's what the Gemara is going to try and figure out. Hashli kusasa. So this type of plant, datsa, shalfa, v'hada datsa, sharia. If you stuck it in before Shabbos, then you could pull it out and then you could push it right back in on Shabbos and it's not a problem, right? Okay? Because once you put it in, it sort of created this opening for it and you're not really going to be moving too much dirt, right? It's not going to be moving dirt. That's what Rashi says. The dirt will not be moved. Amar Shmuel, Hai Sakina Debeni Orbi. So a similar situation. You have a knife, the Beini Orvi, right? Did you put it in between the I guess they stored their, I don't know, Aaron's why. Did they do this? Store their knives in between bricks? You ever hear that? No? Maybe Shmuley knows. So I sakina de beini orvi. So it seems like in the Gemara's times they stored their knives inside bricks, in between bricks, right? So datza shalfa v'hada datza shari. If you stuck it into the brick before Shabbos, then you can pull it out, and then hadar datza shari, then you would be able to push it back in. V'lav also, but if you didn't do this before Shabbos, then you wouldn't be allowed to, because by initially sticking in the knife into the wall, you're gonna end up moving some muktza. Marzuch v'temer Rav Ashi Amar v'gordisa dekani shaper dami. Gordisa dekani is sort of like these reeds that are stuck together, right? So then you could stick a knife into those also, because even though you theoretically might be pushing the reeds, which would be muktza. Fine. Okay, so all three similar cases that they should be done before Shabbos. Rav Katina asked the question: Hatayman lefes it's known as taras gefen. Somebody who does hatmana with what we call lefes, a radish. What's return is a radish. Lefes is a turnip. Turnip, is that what somebody said? Turnip.
Yeah,
thank
I think
you.
So.
Yeah. So a time in lefes, it's known as tachas gefen. So you're sticking it into the ground, right? Because you want it to stay fresh, right? And you're putting it into the ground under a grape tree, right? And if a little bit of the leaves that are on the top of the turnip and the radish are sticking out, then there's no chashash, and you could pull it out. Meaning there's no chashash of what? There's no chashash klayim, because since the green part is sticking out of the ground, so then you would have then there's no chashash that it's going to actually stay there, that it's considered actually planted. And it's also not an issue of shmita. And also for Meiser, it would not be a problem. But Nitlan b'Shabbos, and you could take them out on Shabbos. So you see that as long as the green is taken out, as long as the green is sticking out before Shabbos, you don't have to have taken it out before Shabbos and then put it back in. You could just pull it out in the first place, right? And we're not going to be concerned if the dirt moves when you pull it out. Meaning, the Gemara before said in all these cases that you have to stick the knife in before Shabbos and pull it out before Shabbos like this. It loosens everything up, and then when you stick the knife in before on Shabbos, it's not going to move much dirt, right? But if you didn't do it before Shabbos, meaning in and out, then it would be a problem. And here clearly you're saying as long as there's the Bryce is saying as long as there's a leaf sticking out from the ground, so then you can just pull it out on Shabbos and it didn't have to be pulled out and then put in and out before Shabbos. So it's tiyufta. So Gemara says yes, that's a tiyufta, and it would be no problem. Fine. Okay.
Planting on Shabbos.
No. You have to have it in there before Shabbos.
But even if it's like what we passed in, let's say by like flowers in a vase.
Yeah.
That if it comes out, unless it's a fully grown flower and it's not really getting anything out, any nutrients from the water, you can't put it back in the water.
No, most flowers you can put back in unless it's going to open. If it's going to open, then it's an issue. Right. So here it's for storage. Here it's clearly for storage. I don't know if it's going to make it grow anyways. I don't know.
Hold on that. Are you saying you can change the water like on your flowers on Shabbos?
That's an excellent question. It's an excellent question, but I don't want Peretz's Moish to get nervous that we're not doing Gemara, so I don't know if we should spend time on it. But
Yeah.
No, you can. Here's the thing: if you ask the Hamaynam, let's say, can you take flowers out of the vase on Shabbos and put it back in? The answer is 100% you can, unless, let's say, the flowers are closed and they may open up. Right? Try this in front of people that think you're b'machal Shabbos deraisa. It's 100% mutter. The only issue is, and this is an interesting halacha because it totally changed nowadays. Let's say the vase spills. Okay? So can you refill it with water? The ikar din is that you could refill it with water, except the chacham made a gezerah that it's a tircha. It's tircha on Shabbos to fill it with water, which obviously was back then when you had to go
hold on. No, 1 second. My question is, can you, let's say, replace the water in your vase?
No, because of tircha.
So why would you ever pull the flowers out and put them back?
You can pull them out and put them back as many. You could do it all day.
Why would you ever come to that?
What?
Why would you ever come to that?
Let's say you decide you need the vase for, I don't know, my machlokes. I don't know. Let's say. So you take a little water. So you take out the flowers, you use a little water from the mayim achronim and put the flowers back. Right? No, but here's the thing. Here's an interesting psak. You want to hear a contemporary workaround? So they made a gezerah because they didn't want you to have a tircha of going down to the water to have a tircha to go get water to put into the flowers. So therefore they asked you putting in new water, and they asked if the water spills out to put in new water. But some places can say seltzer is no issue because that doesn't fall under the gezerah. So if you ever have it where your vase spills, you could take seltzer and fill up the vase.
So could you fill a different vase and take the flowers out of the first vase and put them in the second vase?
No, there's a takana. They didn't want al tircha. It has nothing to do with chil Shabbos. It just has to do with tircha Shabbos.
What else is aser?
Can you fill the second vase before Shabbos?
You what?
Can you fill the second vase before Shabbos?
Yes, listen, if you want to get on people's nerves and do this on Shabbos and they start screaming and yelling, go right ahead. If you want an entertaining Suda, all the women will start jumping up and down saying, you're Machal Shabbos, what are you doing taking out the flowers, putting them? Yeah, if you want entertainment, you could do that, 100%.
What happens if it's a bigger tircha if the flower dies?
What?
What happens if it's a bigger tircha if the flowers die?
Why is that a tircha?
The women get upset.
Oh, that's a different tircha. I don't
You
know.
mean you're allowed to move the vase, but you're not allowed to fill it up with water? You're allowed to move the whole the vase. If it's on the table, you're allowed to move the vase?
100%. Well, 100%.
Why?
Why not? Why should it be muktza? Why should it be muktza?
I tell you, to me, logically, it always made sense that you cannot replace the water because it's like it's essentially you're planting the flower. You're giving it new life because by giving it new fresh water, it lives longer.
No, that's not an issue. It's only again.
No, it just prolongs death.
This is all assuming, right? Yeah, Jesse, that's a good point. But it's all assuming that the flower won't open up a little bit more. If it will open up more, then you can't. Once it falls out of the water, you can't put it in.
Once you're at it, can you dump the little packet in?
I don't know. I don't see why not, but I have to reserve. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So you have to take the flowers open?
Take them out for what? No. Okay, anyways, that wasn't the main subject of the night, but okay, it was a good point. Jesse, what were you saying? What else is tircha?
Yeah, I'm curious what else we can't do because of tircha.
There are a few other things. I just, what else? It's not coming to my head right now. If it does pop in, I'll text you or I'll tell you, whatever. Okay, Zok the Mishna. Now, so here's this. It's interesting because this is the last Amud of insulating on Shabbos, and this is the Amud that really gets into halacha l'maisa. Not so much in the beginning, but more towards the bottom of the Amud. So, like he's saying with Ba'id Yom, let's say you didn't cover over your cholent pot from during the day. Again, let's use the example that we've been using, which is it's in the summer. You don't want to leave your stove top on with the soup. So what do? You take the soup and you put it under a blanket, which is you're allowed to do that before Shabbos. You're not allowed to do that on Shabbos, right? So like you said with Ba'id Yom, if you did not cover it Friday day, you are not allowed to cover it at night because hatmana cannot be done on Shabbos. Kisev and Isgala, if you did do hatmana, meaning you covered over the soup, and then let's say a wind came or a kid came and decided to take themselves soup, or somebody decided to take themselves soup and opened it up. Now, can you put the insulation back? That's mutar l'chasoisa. Then you are allowed to. Again, if the insulation was on there before Shabbos and then it got uncovered, you're allowed to put it back and insulate it again. Okay? Now it's interesting there's a Taisva says, the Taisva to the left, he says, because what does it mean? What exactly is the case? Is it talking about where you insulate it before Shabbos and then it fell off? Meaning, right before shul, you covered over the soup, you put it into a blanket. Then you went to shul, and then you came back before Shabbos, and it became, it fell off. Your insulation fell off. So it means when Shabbos started, there was no insulation on there. Can you re-insulate it? So Taisva says that yes, you are allowed to. You're allowed to re-insulate it, even if at the beginning of Shabbos the insulation wasn't on there. Since you did the maisa, the action of insulating before Shabbos, then even if it falls off before Shabbos, it's no problem. Okay, so we'll get to this more on the bottom of it, and then the Mishnah finishes off with another case that's really not so common. But mamala is a kisan. You can fill up a bottle with cold water. Let's say you have a cold water bottle and you want to insulate the cold so it doesn't lose its cold. But you could put it under a pillow so that it doesn't get hot. So this is like reverse insulation. I mean, it's insulation for cold, not for hot. So is that mutter? So the Mishna is saying that's 100% mutter, right? Because
you said if it comes off, you could put it back on after shower.
Yes.
So it becomes something short, right? You said it's Taisus. What the Mishna says.
No. The Mishnah, you would think, is saying that it fell off on Shabbos. Meaning at Shkia, was it covered or not? So the Pashut reading of the Mishnah tells you that if it was covered at Shkia, then if it falls off after Shkia, you're allowed to put it back.
So Taisus says if you covered it on Friday and you left the shul for Mincha and it fell off before Shkia, you could still cover it.
Correct.
Okay, fine.
It's a bigger chiddush. Yeah? Okay, and then the last part of Mishnah is saying that cold is allowed to be insulated on Shabbos. Right? So you take out ices from the fridge or from the freezer, and you don't want it to melt so fast, so you're allowed to wrap it up or whatever, so that's not an insulation issue. Okay, so you're allowed to do hatmana in cold. What's he coming to teach us? Tanina, we learned it, but fairish. A person can fill up a bottle and put it under a pillow and a blanket. It's a fairish Mishnah. So what's Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel coming to tell us? He is telling us something. He's telling us a lot. If it would just be the Mishnah, that's only something that you would not normally insulate. But something that you would if it would be something that you would normally insulate, that you wouldn't be able to do on Shabbos, kamash malan, that even that you're allowed to, right? Meaning, because let's say you want to take off a food on Shabbos that's cold, less than yatzeledis, right? So that anything less than yatzeledis, which we say is about 108 degrees, 110 degrees, whatever it is considered cold. So let's say it's less than that, and you don't want it to lose more temperature. So are you allowed to do that? So what Rabbi Yehuda is coming to tell you is that you are allowed to do hatmana on that on Shabbos. Again, not that it should get hotter, but that it shouldn't lose whatever little heat that it has, it shouldn't lose it. So that's the chiddush. Again, the Mishnah is telling us cold can be insulated. Rabbi Yehuda is coming to tell you that even warm could be insulated, right?
How does this fit in with refrigerators then? It seems like that because you are able to insulate it to keep it from getting too warm too quickly, that there would be an issue with making it cold. Meaning, like, let's say you have soup and you're done with the soup, but you have a lot left over, you're going to put it in the fridge.
Right, so what's wrong with making something cold?
I don't know. It seems that there's a problem with just insulation in general.
But that's what we thought. So the Mishnah is telling us there's no problem with insulating cold.
Oh, so going the opposite way is not an issue.
Correct. Going the opposite way is not an issue. And then the chiddush here, even though I should have explained it a little raw, it's a little different. What Rashi's saying that you don't want it to get hotter. Rashi really, I said it that you want it to stay warm. Rashi is really saying that you want to do hatmana on something that you don't want it to get hotter. Meaning you want it to stay at that temperature. You don't want it to get hotter. You don't want it to get colder. Okay, either way. But the point is that you're allowed to do hatmana. And this is halacha l'maisa. That's the first thing you do halacha l'maisa. If the food that you want to do hatmana to is not yatzeledis, then there's no isser of hatmana on that, right? So something that's warm, like it's 100 degrees or whatever it is, and you want it to maintain that, then you would be allowed to do that. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rebbi, Asr lahatmin esatzainin. It's asr to do hatmana on cold. In which case, Simon, what you just said would be an issue. Patani Rebbi hit the lahatmin esatzainin. Oh, we have a brayso that says Rebbi allowed being matmin, doing hatmana on Sunday. Like Kasha, Hamakameh de L'Shamim and Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi. All the parts of the L'Shamim. One was before he heard it from Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, and one was after. Meaning he changed his mind. Rebbi changed his mind. Okay, you see, it's not so bad for a rabbi to change their opinion based on him hearing opinions from somebody else. And that was Rebbi HaKadosh. Kiha, the Yosef Rebbi, there's a similar case. The Rebbi was sitting. V'amar also lahatman esatzayim. Rebbi said it's also to do hatmana in cold. Amar lefana Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, Abba hitul hatman esatzayim. Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yosi, told him, my father allowed to do hatmana with zayin. Amar kfar hara zakin, and Rebbi said, okay, the zakin already paskin, and therefore we're going to go with the halachas like him. So Rebbe gave up his whole opinion about doing hatmana on signing, all because of Rabbi Yosi. So Amar Rav Papa, look how much they loved each other. Had Rabbi Yosi been alive, he would have had to have listened to Rebbe, because Rebbe was the nasi, right? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he was the nasi, so he was in charge. Rabbi Yosi, even though, like Tosfos says, Rabbi Yosi was bigger than Rebbe, right? So he would have, but he still would have had to listen to Rebbe because Rebbe was in charge. And the raya to that is Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi, who was Rabbi Yosi's son. He filled his father's shoes, and he was kafa for Yosef Rebbe. He was meshubah to sit and listen to whatever Rebbe said. But yet Rebbe said, your father already paskin, so therefore we're going to go with your father. So that's how much respect that they had for each other. Fine. So Amalei Rav Nachman l'Doro Avdei. Rav Nachman told Doro his Eved, Atman litzainin, bring me cold water, and bring me cold water and insulate it. Yeah. Very good, Naftali. That what you just got, very good. I just noticed that. That's Rav Papa going through with this whole vart that we've been saying at the end of brachas, that Rav Papa was the man of peace. Rav Papa is the one that said it. Very good. Yeah. Amar le Rav Nachman l'Doro Avdei Atman litzainin, insulate for me cold, v'aisli maya da'achim kfela arma, and bring me water that a kfela arma, kfela is a cook, an Armenian cook, a Goyish cook, heated up hot water for me. Right. So again, he asked him for two things. I want cold, insulate me something cold, and give me hot water that a guy cooked. Oh, what about bishul Akum that a guy can't cook for you? Shama Rebbi Ami ve'ikbid. So Rabbi Ami heard both of these psakim, and he was makbid. He was not happy with either one. Amar Rav Yosef, my time ikbid. Why are you being makbid on Rav Vasei of it? He did like his Rabbeim. Chada Rav, Chada Shmuel. He did one psak like Rav, and one like Shmuel. Shmuel, he did like Shmuel. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Mutal Hatman Esatzani. He did like Shmuel because, like we learned in the beginning of this Gemara, Shmuel said that you're allowed to do insulate cold. Kirav, Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Rav Yitzchak Amar Rav, and this is the way we paskin. Kol shu nechel kamashu chay ein b'mishum bishul nachem. Anything that could be eaten raw, there's no isser of bishul akum, and therefore that's why you could have a cleaning lady put up the hot water for you, and it's no problem. And you could have they can make vegetables, anything that could normally be eaten raw. There's no isser of bishul akum, right? So that's why he did these two things. So now the question is, so what? Coffee. I didn't want to go down that road. Coffee, Lamaisa, can coffee be eaten raw? What Yisrael is asking is, can coffee be eaten raw?
Yes.
It cannot.
No, people put it into yogurt raw.
You mentioned the word coffee, and that could be, we could talk about this for hours. Let me tell you.
They put chocolate in the chocolate beans.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff with coffee beans.
There's a guy I know that used to carry around the
coffee's
Ziploc
also
coffee
cooked already, I thought. You're not
Most people do not eat any coffee beans raw. As far as they have to be
normal
roasted
people.
at
Not
the
as a
minimum.
main ingredient, that's for sure.
I take offense to that.
Well, who's eating what? Somebody's eating raw coffee?
Yeah, I eat raw coffee.
Okay.
You chew on the beans?
Yeah, you chew on the beans.
Like people chew on tobacco, you just chew on coffee beans.
He wants to know when she eat. When
I didn't take offense to it. I was just joking.
Talking about coffee beans that are right off the tree or already roasted by the roasters.
No, it needs to be roasted, and it's roasted.
Usually the
and it's
roasters.
cooked.
Simon, do you have any input on this? This is your.
Coffee bean.
You can eat coffee beans, but they're gross. Why you
Where
want
do
to?
you get them from?
Why is it gross?
Isn't the coffee beans that they're eating roasted already, so it takes away the problem of bishul akum?
No, because who's roasting them?
Oh, okay. Fine.
Right?
Got me on
Bottom
that
line
one.
is the Poskim discuss this because, and if you say that it's bishul akum, then Starbucks is out, Dunkin' is out. It's all no coffee on planes, nothing.
Isn't the coffee cooked already?
Who's cooking it?
The bean is cooked already.
But a guy cooked it.
I
No,
vote to skip this subject.
No, a guy cooked it.
Isn't the
Yeah,
hechsher on Folgers or Taster's Choice that they turn the fire on?
What?
Isn't the hechsher on Taster's Choice, Folgers, all these things
No,
that they turn the fire on?
No, it's not.
So why is there a hechsher on it?
What?
Wise potato
What's the
chips.
hechsher
I thought
Make
that
sure
was-
it's
oh, the
kosher.
side dishes
Okay,
inside
we're not
also
gonna spend
come
we're
off.
not gonna spend too much time on this. I'll tell you the simple answer. What bracha is on coffee? What bracha do you make on a coffee?
Akum.
Shackle or eitz?
If you're eating
Right,
it
so
raw,
coffee
On a
beans
bean, you would make eights.
Coffee bean should be a eitz, but lamaisa or hadam or whatever it is, it's not shahakal. Gersh, you're saying what do you want to say?
According to Play Zalman,
I knew you were going to go with Rav Shlomo. Let's leave Rav Shlomo out of it. Okay, I knew that's where you were going. That's why I asked you to say. Okay, but
You don't eat whole beans.
good. Bottom line is, what's the bracha on? Let's do another thing. What about beer? Beer. We're all in agreement that hops are not eaten raw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how do we drink beer? I promise
No,
you,
they're
I owe
not
you on the
cooked, they're
course.
fermented.
So what?
It's not cooked.
Sure, it's cooked. I think it's that's the way I was told it's cooked.
If you bring me a raw beer, I'll drink it.
And anyways, I don't think beer is ayla shulchan alachim.
Okay, that's a different story. But the bottom line is, since the bracha is shahakol, so therefore we look at coffee like it's water. And from this Gemara, you see that since water can be eaten raw, can be drank raw, therefore there's no bishul Akum on coffee. So that bails you all out.
It's not because you're not actually eating any of these items.
No, you're drinking
You're just
the coffee.
You're just soaking these items in water.
So what? But lemaisa, it's flavored, right? It's flavored with the coffee. It's a substantial amount. Either way, that's the way we paskin. That's the way most of Klal Yisrael goes. I once heard a shiur from Yisrael Reisman. He said he personally goes with the machmirim, and he is makbid on not drinking guy's coffee. Guy coffee won't have coffee on a plane. Okay, whatever. That's a chumrah. Oh, maybe not. That's actually segues to the Gemara's teretz. So then, what was?
I don't even understand. I don't understand what the shayla is. You don't make ha'etz on orange juice.
That's see. No, Reb Shlomo Zalman. There are those that say that you do. Reb Shlomo Zalman seemingly says that you should. I think he just didn't want to go against the whole society, right? That's what it was. Right. So the vegetable is different.
I vaguely
okay, we're
remember
not going down this road.
I vaguely remember that years ago you said that someone, if I'm not mistaken, you said that someone paskins that you make a mezainis on whiskey.
I never heard that.
I remember we talked about this.
That's maybe because they're having cake with their whiskey in the morning. Maybe.
Was this Purim Torah?
Is this a halacha that changes with the community? I mean, sushi 25, 30 years ago.
Yes, it can. Sushi could be as changing the equation with eating
steak tartare.
Fish. Yes, it could be. Be'ez Hashem, we should all be healthy and whole when we get to Avodah Zarah, which is in a good couple of years, and we'll discuss this. Yeah.
I mean, you want to say that raw fish is not muktza anymore?
Could be.
It depends. I mean, from what I understand, also guys who eat steak tartare, that on Shabbos raw chop meat's not muktza for them.
Right. No, that might change it.
Yes, then paying $6 for a coffee in Starbucks should change halacha too. Then.
Yeah, that's baltashchis.
No, but nobody pays $6 for a cup of water.
Or avoid Zarah.
Whatever it is, the bottom line is we paskin at the bracha shahakol, and therefore to go. But there are machmirim, which is the Gemara's teretz, meaning because what was Rav Ami makbid on him for? Right? If he paskin like Rav, who said that there's no bishul Akum if it gets eaten raw. This is Adam Chashav Shani. Rav Ami was saying that an Adam Chashav is different. So maybe if you consider yourself an Adam Chashav, therefore you should not be drinking coffee in Starbucks and Dunkin'. Maybe.
Yeah, but you said that Rabbi Reisman doesn't drink coffee only on a plane. Why would he drink coffee at home? Doesn't solve the problem.
Sure it does.
He makes it himself. He's
because
pouring
it's not
the water.
edible, and he makes the coffee himself.
Not bishul.
He's fixing the bishul. He's being mavasha.
You're saying when they're roasting the coffee, that part at that point it's not edible?
I'm still having no idea. I think I had one coffee in my life, so it's not my.
Yaakov, I'm still having a hard time with using Reisman as a raya, but okay.
Not that Reisman. No. Rabbi Reisman from Flatbush.
Oh, okay. I was getting very nervous here. I thought Corona did you in, man.
Be careful. We're being recorded.
Wait, can I ask a general claw question though?
Yes.
You're talking about reality, like the new reality is changing halacha. You're talking about raw fish and raw meat. We just talked about not changing water in the flower vase, right?
Right.
But it used to be because it was a big schlep. You had to go down to the river or you go to the well and you pull it up. And now we have faucets. How is that not changing our reality today?
Oh, very excellent question. And the answer is, as disappointing as you are going to be, as disappointed as you're going to be with this answer, yeah, usually we only change le chumra, not le kula. Okay, usually. So the vase was certainly not changing. The only thing is, and then the reason why we're having such a hard time changing the halacha by fish for bishul akum is because that's also going to be a kula. So that's why the oilam's having a very hard time with it. But there, the mitzias of the whole gezerah is built into the gezerah is that if it's eaten raw, it's no problem. By the vase, they just made the water. They just said no water and finish. But by bishul akum, it's built into the gezerah was that if you get eaten raw, then it doesn't have the gezerah. The gezerah doesn't apply. They never built it in. Like, they never said. They could have said by the flowers that, hey, if you happen to have a bucket of water in your house, you can because it's not a big tircha, right? But they didn't say that. So it's built in. Okay, Tana Rabbanan, yeah. Now here we get into the real practice of halacha about tomorrow.
I'm sorry. Can I just clarify one thing on the last point?
Yeah.
But when I was asking about the sushi, meaning that even if the shiksa wants to go, if you want the shiksa to go ahead and make big salmon, that would be okay also because we do eat salmon raw.
Correct. That
I just want to clarify that.
Yes, that theoretic. I'm not saying
no, but that's a different kind of salmon. It's not sushi grade salmon. You don't just make it salmon plus
salmon. Such a fancy guy.
No, so this is part of the issue. Exactly. Do we say it's all fish, or it has to be specific type of fish for sushi? And do enough people eat sushi to make it that it's you know what I mean? It's there's still a lot of stuff up in the air.
I remember correctly, we had a share Tuesday night what looks like the same basement from Aaron Kaplan's ceiling over there, and we went through all of this already.
Yes, we did. Yes,
so
we did.
Those who lost staff can go to the recording.
Was there a recording?
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
There wasn't, but let everybody look anyway. We can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Jacob, that reminds me. We have share Tuesday night.
I don't understand. We made up last week Thursday night, and that was the last I heard.
I forgot to contact you. It's my bad.
All right. You didn't have to contact me. I told you yes, and that was the end of that.
No, but then I got busy. I forgot to confirm. Okay, Tuesday night,
right.
8:00?
Tuesday night, 8:00. I don't see why not.
You know, no chasanas.
There's no
way to go. No way to go.
Okay, baita. Yeah, Tana Rabbanan. Even though we said that you can't do insulation with something that can add on heat from when it gets dark, meaning even something that can't add heat when it gets dark. And but if you want to add on, you're allowed to add on insulation. Meaning, if you have, using again the soup as an example, you take your soup and you put it under the blankets, right? And then you go take out some soup, and then you want to put it back under the blankets, which we said already is okay to do, because as long as it was insulated, as long as you did the initial insulation, even if it falls off, or even if you take it off, you're allowed to put it back. But then you say, hey, the soup is getting cold too fast. So now can you go add a second blanket onto this insulation, right? So the answer is that you can, right? As long as it was initially insulated, you can add on more. Okay, so otherwise, so how do you do it? You can either do it two ways. Either you can take off the sardinin, the initial sheets that you covered it, and you can put on glufkarin. I don't know what the translations are of these, if there's a good translation of it, but it's a heavier one.
Coats.
What? Coats? Okay, thank you. I know there is a glufkarin, or you can go the other way. You could take off the coats, and you could put the sardinin. That's what Reb Shimon Gamliel said. I'm sorry, now that's one thing. And then another thing. If you take it from one pot and put it to another pot, then that's mutter. This is a major kula. Okay? Again, if you have a pot that you decide on Friday night needs insulation, right? Let's say you took some cholent and you thought that was going to be it for the cholent, then you decided you want to keep it warm for another hour or two, right? So you didn't have it insulated before Shabbos, so how are you going to insulate it? So the Gemara is saying, if you take that pot, if you take the food and put it into a kli sheni, then there's no isser hatmana on a kli sheni. Okay? So you can take it and then do hatmana. Obviously, you can't do hatmana with something that's going to add heat, but you can do hatmana with something that's going to maintain the heat. Again, so it's only that pot. But if you take it from one pot and put it into another pot, then mutter, it's mutter. Why? If you're making it cooler by putting it into a different pot, as we discussed in Taisus like a week and a half ago, right? We said that when you put into a kli sheni, the walls of the kli make it cooler. So if you're showing that you're making the food cooler, are you going to go now heat it up? Meaning the only reason why you're not allowed to insulate on Shabbos is because we're afraid you're going to mess with the coals. So by you putting it into a kli sheni, you're showing that you don't mind it cooling off a little bit. Then we should be chash that you're going to go heat it up? Of course not. So therefore, once you put it into a kli sheni, then it's going to be, then you're allowed to. Okay, so this comes with an interesting din. So can you take hot water and put it into a thermos on Shabbos? Okay, again, we're saying when you put it into a kli sheni, you could insulate it, right? So some want to say, well, and the reason why you're allowed to insulate it is because you're showing that you don't mind it cooling off, and then you're going to make it, and then you're going to go make it heat it up, right? So by putting it into a thermos, you're clearly showing that you do want the heat to be maintained, right? So the poskim say, no, it still doesn't make a difference. And even if you move it into a thermos, it's perfectly fine. That's not called insulating the water. Okay? Fine. Weiter. Let's say you do hatmana and you cover it up with something that can be taken on Shabbos, meaning it's not muktza. Or you do hatmana with something that's muktza, but you covered it with something that's not muktza. So then, meaning again, you have the pot cover, let's say covering over, let's say you have a box covering over your cholent pot, and on top of that box, you put some muktza stuff to insulate. So you're allowed to just move the cover, which is not muktza, and that will move the muktza from the side, right? But what happens if taman v'kisa b'davar she'ein nitl b'Shabbos? If you do hatmana and you cover it over with something that can't be taken on Shabbos, meaning it's muktza, or you do hatmana with something that's not muktza and you cover it with something that's muktza. So then if a little bit of the cover is megula, so you just pull it up and the muktza will fall away. That's fine. You could take it and then you could cover it back over. But if not, you cannot take it and put it back because that's going to be moving the muktza too much. Okay, fine. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, No'ira shel pishtan, flax, the combings of flax, daka of thin flax, arehi kezevel, and it's like zevel, which we discussed before, that adds heat, and you would not be allowed to insulate with that even from Erev Shabbos. Manichan mecham al gabi mecham, a kedera al gabi kedera. This we discussed already. You're allowed to take one hot pot and put it on top of another hot pot and a kedera on top of another kedera. Avaloi kedera al gabi mecham, but you can't put a kedera on top of a mecham, or mecham al gabi kedera, or a mecham al gabi kedera, right? Because that's going to add too much heat, right? Fine. Then b'toches pia b'batik, you can smooth out the mouth of the pot with dough. Not that it should get hot. It should be watched, meaning you're sealing it so that nothing gets in, no animals or bugs get into it. And the same way you're not allowed to do hatmana with hot, you're not allowed to do hatmana with cold, which we already said, and Rebbi hit the lot as a tzainin. Rebbi matted you to do hatmana with tzainin. Okay, so let's just stop there for a minute. Just that's the end of the hatmana sugya. I know it's getting a little bit late here, but again, hatmana b'miktzas, which we already discussed. So there's a few things with hatmana just to get to the practical. If you leave a space in between the pot that you're insulating with and the thing that's being insulated, and the space, the poskim say, just has to be recognizable to the eye. So it just has to be, let's say, this much. Then that's not called hatmana. You can do a perfectly fine hatmana, right? There's nothing wrong with wrapping it in a blanket. Again, this all has to be done before Shabbos, right? Well, the truth is, no. If you're going to do that tomorrow, if you leave the space, then you could even do that on Shabbos, right? That's one. Okay. Now, it's interesting, machlokes between Sfardim and Ashkenazim. With all these halachas, the Sfardim are usually much more mekel. Here they're machmer, where the hatmana, according to the mechaber, according to Sfardim, as long as the bottom of the pot is on something that can provide extra heat, then it's hatmana. You're not allowed to do that. So according to Sfardim, you're not allowed to leave your pot on top of coals before Shabbos. They matter it nowadays with fire on flames or a blech, then they allow it, right? But Ashkenazim hold, and this is where you get into the crock pot issue. Ashkenazim hold that if you have to, in order for hatmana to be a problem, it has to go all the way around the pot. The issue is when they say all the way around the pot, does that mean the top has to be covered also or not? Meaning, so our crock pots, why are our crock pots allowed? Bottom line is a crock pot is adding heat, right?
So the
and
slow
it's surrounded.
Jack, of the slow cooker ones are no issues.
Why not? Well, the ones on the bottom only.
Right.
That's no issue. We're talking about the sunken in crock pots.
Uh-huh.
Right? So the heating element's on the bottom and on the sides. It's just not on the top. Right? So that's a big machlokes of contemporary poskim, whether that is an issue of hatmana or not. So Rav Shlomo Zalman initially said it is an issue of hatmana. What's interesting, and in the Shmira Shabbos Kachas in the footnote, and he did this with Rav Nissen Kaplan, Rav Shlomo Zalman told him a couple of weeks before he was nifter, he said he feels like he wants to change his psak, and that he could be makel because the top has nothing on top of it, right? The crockpot top is just the glass. And he's asked them to work on it, and they worked on it together. Rav Neubert and Rav Nissen Kaplan worked on it together. And they finally came up with a tshuva being materit, and they went to the hospital on a Friday to show it to Rav Shlomo Zalman, and then he lost consciousness, and he would think he was nifter Motzei Shabbos, so they never got to him to get him to change his mind. So therefore, they're not willing. Shmira Shabbos Kachas is not willing to change his mind, even though they believe that Rav Shlomo Zalman would have changed his mind and would have allowed our crockpot. So basically, there are still makilim. That again, the issue is that the hatmana is all the way on the sides. There's no hatmana on the top. So there are makilim. The machmirim, what they say to do is take some tinfoil balls or take some stones and put it on the bottom of the crock pot so that the heating element gets lifted up a little bit, and then it's not hatmana like we're saying, because then there's a space.
I thought it's fine that there's a space either way, no?
No, but that space is not enough. That space.
It only rests on the rim.
No, so you have to find out if that's the way yours works, then it would be okay. But most of them, from what I understand, is it's too close to the wall. So you just lift it up, you put in some rocks and lift it up. That's what the machmirim do. But the makilim there's what to rely on with the makilim that you don't need to. But that is what the crock pot, that's the crock pot issue.
The sheet of silver foil is not enough?
What? Lining it with silver foil for this is not enough because it doesn't raise it up. Doesn't raise it up. You take some silver foil balls and put it so that it raises it up like a half an inch. And then that, in addition, if you want to do, you need the foil if it has a blech, if you want to put the crock pot back on the crock pot, then you need both. You need to lift it up and you need to line it because that will be a blech and the balls take care of the hatmana. But again, there are makilim, so but that's where the issue comes from. Okay? Then we get to one more contemporary issue that has nothing to do with hatmana. It's just to finish off the Perek. It says, you are not allowed to crush ice and snow and ice on Shabbos in order to get liquid out of it. But you can take the ice and put it into a cup or into a plate, and then that's not a chashash. Right? So what is this Gemara all about? What's the problem? Because when you're doing that, it makes it look like there's different. The Pais can discuss different reasons why they have this gezerah, right? Rashi says because it's moiled, you're creating something new. Right now it was ice, and now you're making it into liquid, right? It looks like you're creating water. Others say it looks like you're doing schita because you're squeezing, right? So therefore, whatever it is, according to all the Paiskim, you are not allowed to squeeze out ice to melt it in your hand, right? But now, what does it mean? But the last line here says, but you're allowed to put it into a cup and let it melt into a cup. Is that an empty cup or not? So Rashi says very clearly, meaning the liquid has to be in the cup already. When you put in the ice into your soda, let's say, or into your schnapps, it's going to melt directly into the liquid. It's not recognizable that you're melting it. That's okay. But to melt it into a cup, just so that you have water, that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Okay? So it's very gay.
If you put a picture and you put water in,
No, that's allowed. That's allowed because it's going to melt directly into the water. But let's say you just fill up a pitcher with ice on a hot day, and you say by the time we come back from davening, it's going to be ice cold water. That you're not allowed to do. You can only have it melt into water.
So maybe I missed this. So are you allowed to take an ice cube and put it into hot soup?
No, so that's exactly what we're saying. That would be allowed because it's going to melt directly into the soup. Assuming that the soup is in a klishlishi, whatever it is, then it's allowed. Right? It's only if you
klisheni, not because you're not allowed to throw it into the pot.
You cannot throw it into the pot, but that's how it's bishul. That's not because of melting ice. Melting ice into a drink is okay as long as it goes directly into the drink. There are machmirim that say that you shouldn't pour the soda on top of the ice. You should put the soda in and then put the ice into the soda. Okay, that's a chumrah. That's not. It doesn't make a difference as long as the ice melts directly into another liquid. That's okay.
So those things that are made, they make like these big pitchers that you put the ice in a separate compartment, right? It's inside. It's like a tube inside.
Right.
Ice in, and then the liquid's on the outside.
Right. So that I think is that's still okay because you don't care to have other of it. You don't want that ice to melt, right?
Don't want the ice to melt. Correct. You want it to keep it cold.
So then that's really you're not doing. It's only a problem to melt the ice if you want it to drink, not because of anything else, right? Okay, so it's already 10:15. Okay, we're a little behind now, but we'll catch up tomorrow or the next day.
So in theory, then, if you put in an ounce of water on the bottom, and then you fill the whole pitcher with ice, and then you left the shul, you came back, if you all melted, is that considered melting it into?
I don't know. That's a good question. He's trying to scam the system, right?
Right.
I hear. I'm not sure. Maybe is there an amount? I don't remember seeing that there's any amount. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to check my notes, but I haven't seen anything like that. Then you have the other way around, which is, can you make ice on Shabbos? Right? That's a different thing, right? So many places can say it's certainly better not to make ice on Shabbos. That's for sure. If necessary, then there are places that allow it.
And what about the ice machine, the ice makers?
Are you machlokes to turn off the ice machine in the refrigerator?
No, the ice machine's fine. That's making it automatic. That's not. No, we're talking about you taking ice and putting it into the ice cube tray and then making ice that way.
You could take out of the ice from the freezer that will refill.
You can take You could take ice out of the freezer, not if it's going to make that lever go up or down. That's going to create more ice. No, that's not allowed.
Right, you have to turn off the ice machine, then you can take it out.
Well, or you could turn it off on Shabbos. You can push it off. You can push it up
I have
on
electric.
Shabbos.
Mine's electric eye. It's an electric
eye.
eye.
Okay, so then
if it's Naila, then it should be Osir on Shabbos to eat.
What?
Even from an ice maker.
Yeah, but to me that's like a double chumrah. It's a double chumrah. That's you know what I mean? Because now there's poskim that hold that you are allowed to make ice.
No, I'm sure he's saying why isn't it nolad?
True, but that's part of the reason to do it. But one is nolad b'yadayim, and one is that it happened by itself.
Just like mail or whatever it is, or anything happens by itself, a chicken, whatever it is. Why is it any different?
Hold on a second. Let me see. Making ice. I have in my notes here from the Doivim Misharim that he says out tuma. Tuma, ice is considered a separate thing than liquid. Ice, because then they want to tie it. Ice is just frozen water. It's the same entity, right? Yeah, that's basically what I have down in my notes, whatever that's worth. Yeah.
Just going back to the coffee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it? Could we bring a riot from the Chavetz Chaim says you're not drinking coffee before davening?
Out what? Out bishul Akum?
No, out water. It's considered water.
Oh, I mean, it's considered water. And a chanami, that's a good raya. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to drink coffee before davening. 100%. Very good. Yeah, I'm asking to that. Yeah. But that's why you're saying. That's why you can't put in cream and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, according to those that hold it, you can't put in cream. Right, Muslim, 100%. Yeah.
Somebody got to tell Simon that the shear is over.
I was about to say, can we sing Simon a lullaby?
Of course.
Listen, at least he kept his camera on. You know what I mean?
Been a long day, man. What do you want from me?
It's all right. As long as you kept your camera on, Simon, you could have shut it off. That's the wimpy way out.
Yeah.
Those, I have a bishul question. Those Geffen soups in the cups.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they cooked before? Is there a way to make it on Shabbos with klishi or no way?
Oh, the tradition soups?
The Geffen soups, yeah.
Yes, you make it on make it. I don't even know if it needs a klishi, but to be safe, you make it in the klishi and you cool off
ramen is already cooked.
On Shabbos, you can make.
Yes.
The ramen is already cooked.
Well,
You can eat it raw.
What?
You can eat the ramen noodles raw.
Okay.
Sully, you here?
I didn't hear.
You can eat the noodles raw.
The things are fully cooked.
That's the question. Are they fully cooked or not?
100% fully cooked.
Right, that's
not
what
so cautious. Some say it is, some say it's not. I think it's different companies did different ways. If it's fully cooked, then 100%. Right?
And if it's not klishi, and if not, how could you cook it?
A klishi with then let it cool off a little. That's the safest way.
Okay.
I tell people to put in a klishi and let it cool off for a minute or two, and then put it into the soup.
Okay.
Now, if you put the water into an insulated thing, does that consider a cliche?
No, that's what we're saying. We said with putting it into what do you call it? An insulated. What's the name of the thing?
Thermos.
Thermos. Thank you.
That
Thermos.
was a different
Yeah,
shiloh.
so the Paiskim all matter it. They all matter thermos. I can't say I understand the lumdus so much, but that they all say that it's allowed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay. I got to sign off.
All right, let me say hello to mommy, please.
All right. Okay, everybody.